Hello everyone, I am Benas and today we're going to be recording the podcast about movies from IB2. I am here with my two colleagues.
I'm Mikas, hello.
And I'm Ugnė. Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about the movie Haine.
So when it comes to French cinema, Haine is one of the most obvious references. Hate is the direct translation of the movie's title, and it is a film by Matthew Kossovitz, which was released on May 31st of 1995, just as the Paris suburbs flared up with a surge of violence. The film took the industry by a storm by representing the racial, cultural, and social struggle in modern-day France, specifically the low-income district of Paris's outskirts. Many videos of real footage of police brutality and social unrest are shown during the introduction of the film, setting the overall attitude for the viewing of the rest of the movie. And a song, Burning and Looting by Bob Marley and the Wailers, also featured in the beginning, greatly represents the events of the time as well, as Paris experienced burning, looting, and rather frequent conflicts with the police. Nevertheless, the first scene of the movie, including throwing a Molotov cocktail on tourists, depicts the violent and brutal circumstances of the vicious time of police brutality in France and the resistance of its people. So La Haine truly is a landmark of contemporary French cinema, which depicted the life of three protagonists, Vince, played by Vincent Cassel, Hubert, played by Hubert Condé, and Said, played by an actor which his name I cannot really pronounce. The actors perform using their real names for the purpose of more authenticity and intensity. It is thought that by using their real names, they were able to connect to the characters better and deliver kind of a greater performance. So the mixed race male trio are undoubtedly a representation of the immigrant population of France, as one is of Jewish descent, one is African, and one is Arab. The three characters mostly spend their days wandering in a French suburbia. And Vince, Hubert, and Said navigate between the environs of Paris's outskirts following a short trip to Paris, showing the dynamic range of their friendship as well. And certainly the various boiling points seen throughout the film leave you at the edge of your seat when watching the cinematic masterpiece, in my opinion, personally. And the film shot in the span of 24 hours and in a monochromatic view won the prestigious award of the Best Director in Cannes and became of immense cinematic value. However, what is interesting is that during the Cannes Film Festival premiere, police officers were highly offended by how their police counterparts were portrayed, and they met the cast and crew by turning their backs to protest. However, the film received a standing ovation from the crowd afterwards, as was deserved. So this is kind of the brief introduction of the film, and maybe Benas and Mikas have other kind of points or interesting facts about the movie.
I think that the choice to shoot in just a normal day in the everyday life of these characters was quite interesting because it just showed what life was like during those times and what they had to go through each day and how they dealt with the police brutality.
And I think also the point of the movie was how you said like that the movie shows a day in a life at those times, but the point is that it's not only those times. This movie is only actually 20 years old, and I think what it was trying to show is like how police brutality and like the social the social hierarchy and that it's still happening.
True.
Yeah, and I think but I think that the choice of the characters, like the from the ethnicity, from the ethnic side, so I think it portrays the police brutality and kind of the people which were targeted by the police in France, in modern day France as well.
I think this is very greatly reflected in the recent police brutality with the Black Lives Movement, where the death of George Floyd caused the whole movement to rise.
Yeah, true, and also
that's a good link. Yeah.
the movie is actually inspired from these situations where people are shot and killed in riots, for example. So I have a quote from an article that I was reading about this movie. Quote, "The inspiration for the film comes from a history of French police brutality after Macomb Mabowole, I think, I don't know how to pronounce that, was accidentally on quotes, shot and killed at point blank range while handcuffed to a radiator in police custody in 1993. And yeah, I think this was only one of the two movies that was that inspired this movie, La Haine.
What I'd like to talk about, the movie at the that the quote at the very beginning of the movie kind of describes what the whole movie is about. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Actually.
And also like I think it also just portrayed not also what's happening in the movie, but also just like what's happening to society in general. Yeah.
Did you also notice that the whole movie is like a loop? It's like structured like a loop by at the beginning. If I remember correctly, it's with the Saeed opening his eyes and a gunshot. And like we know, in the end, it's like a gunshot of Saeed hearing his friends get shot and him closing his eyes.
Yeah, I actually
spoilers
wrote that
ahead.
as a point. Yeah.
But wait, what exactly did you mention, that the movie starts with a gunshot?
Yeah, at the very beginning, well, after the montage about police brutality in France, we hear a gunshot and then Saeed opening his eyes and the camera zooming out.
Oh, so you think it links to the gunshot, like to the end of the movie?
Yeah, I think it. Well, it shows like the whole idea of the movie as well. That's like framing because basically the three characters were moved by the death of one person. I don't remember his name, but it was basically a police brutality case against their friend, and then they were inspired to like fight against this. But then the movie just ends by another police brutality case being Said's friend, and it just kind of sets a loop into motion where it's like there's no proper end.
Yeah, and I kind of noticed that
Nice.
it frames the movie as well, like the shots of Said, in the beginning and the end. Like it zooms in at first at the beginning and it then zooms out, so it kind of creates that illusion as well.
I think this just shows like how these protests have no like a real way to solve them, because if one side wins, then the other one will get like ahead, like in this example, where first the protester gets shot and killed, and then the protesters fight back, and this just results in another protester getting hurt, and this makes like a whole loop for the situation.
Yeah, it's like
I think that's a very good point, though, and it kind of reflects as well the more modern day with the Black Lives Matter. Even it just like it repeats again and again throughout history.
Yeah, and like the name of the movie itself, La Haine. I don't know how it's pronounced. Who studied French? La Haine.
La Haine.
La Haine. Oh, so
yes.
So yeah, that means hate. And yeah, I think it just shows that hate begets hate. Nothing is rewarded truly for people.
What was really a surprise to me is that like the whole plot of the movie is like practically meaningless, because like neither does the society change from what these characters achieve, but also like doesn't change like anything practically.
Yeah, it was just like a day in a life of. Yeah, it was really cool. I love these kind of unconventional movies that like they don't have like a typical plot like other ones, where there's like a main hero that goes like achieve his quest or something. It's just like this movie is just about a day in a life, and it doesn't end very happy.
Did anyone understand the like symbolism of the cow that
right.
Vince saw?
Yeah, I read about this.
The
cows.
Oh,
that
okay.
that Vince dreamt of and then saw one in like real life.
Do you remember that?
I kind of don't remember that in the
Like
movie.
once he mentions it to the little guy, the little friend, I think, that he dreamt it.
Said.
Saeed, yeah, and then there was a scene where where he's just looking and Saeed isn't looking in the same direction, so he can't see. But Vince, he's just looking in one direction, and there's just like a cow walking, and it just walks by, and so Saeed doesn't notice while Vince is like saying, "Dude, check out this cow! Like I'm not insane." But yeah, I read about it, and here basically it says the police used to be referred to as le vaches. I'm not. That sounds Spanish, but yeah, it's la vaches. It's cows in French. So how some people call the police pigs, I guess the French called them cows, and yeah. So it's foreshadowing and a possible hallucination by Vince. I don't know. I thought at first when I was watching the movie, I kind of thought that it was real. It wasn't a hallucination. Like there was like another meaning in the movie that I didn't understand.
I don't think it was a hallucination. I think the cow was
You
real.
think it was a real cow?
Yeah.
But even if he dreamt from it, even if he dreamt about it, and then he's seeing hallucinations, they were also smoking weed. Like Saeed even made the joke like smoke less weed and you'll stop hallucinating.
I guess that might be it. Yeah.
But did you
Yeah.
guys notice about the so far so good? I mean, it's a very obvious quote when talking about this movie. Maybe you have some points about that.
I don't know. I mean,
well, I think it's just the daily like routine of the characters once again. They were going and like trying to protest support this protest, and they were like doing good, but then this just sort of reflects that so far so good that they're actually like making a meaning and making a statement of some sorts. But then eventually they fell like the Molotov and exploded.
yeah.
I read about it in the article, and it kind of says that this, like the story that Hubert tells, for instance, in the beginning when the Molotov cocktail is thrown onto Earth, or when sort of like more to the end when he talks to Vince, I think in their trip to Paris. He tells the story that there was a man who fell off a skyscraper, and like to reassure himself, he kept repeating "so far so good, so far so good, so far so good." But in the article, I kind of read that this story, and you know that repeating phrase of "so far so good" kind of symbolizes and can be linked to even society's downfall, and how with every tragedy or struggle it keeps kind of repeating the "so far so good," and it's not getting better in any way.
Yeah, I was thinking about that quote in the like from the more broader sense, also like you, Ugnė, that like from a societal perspective, that so far so good means that like no one is admitting how bad something is, and then until like the person in the anecdote hits the floor.
That is an interesting way to view, and I think that's partially correct about the movie. But this movie, like, I've noticed another different story. I don't know if you guys remember it, but when the three characters are in a bathroom and there's an old guy that comes out and then just tells them a random story
Oh,
about
right.
about this guy trying to get on a train, but then because he was like too prideful and would not let go of his pants to get on the train, he dies. I think that's a direct comparison between like Hubert and Vince, because Vince just keeps giving himself into the hatred of violence and trying to solve this conflict using his gun that he found. But he event and Hubert is trying to save him by using his words and being like trying to calm him down. But then eventually they Vince gets left behind as well and dies in the end of the movie.
But was it when you said that the man was in the story about the man who was running after the train and he was trying to keep his pants up. What was the reason you said for that?
Just because he was so prideful and he did not want to see for anyone to see him without his pants on.
But was it because of pride? I thought I didn't hear that part
It was
at
pride
all.
and like being shy.
No, but wasn't it that it was like that he said it was very cold because they were going to Siberia?
Well, it was cold, but he went further away from the train just so he could do his business in peace without anyone looking at him. And then it was too late to catch up. So I think that's a direct comparison to Vince and Hubert.
Okay. Also, I love the flip in the movie where there's this conflict between Vince and Hubert, both on opposite political sides, and then in the end, it's Hubert who allegedly shoots the person or gets shot. He's the one who gets involved in the violence.
Yeah, that is a good point. Which of the characters do you guys most relate to or found the most interesting?
I think not to say that I can relate to him, but I mean, yeah, okay, I guess I kind of relate to Vince, not to sound edgy, but I kind of get where some emotions they may be very enticing and really causing some kind of feedback loop where you engage in some kind of emotion like anger or let's say sadness or in this case anger, and it keeps feeding you. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I mostly relate to Hubert because I don't think getting lost in emotions is a correct way to solve problems.
Yeah.
And I think you should always aim to solve them diplomatically, like Hubert does.
True. Yeah.
I would say that I relate to Hubert as well. I kind of got the idea that he got oh my god, that he's got a very strong voice and he kind of keeps his opinion, and I kind of strive to do that as well. It doesn't always work, but I mean, the whole principle is kind of there. And yeah, I mean, he does think rationally, which I do agree with. So yeah, I would say Hubert as well.
Yeah, I really admire how Hubert, even though he's one of the strongest people in the group, he still uses his voice as his main weapon and only uses force when necessary.
Yeah, true, nice.
Well, did did this movie inspire any one of you guys to change anything about your daily routine or change the way you think about life?
I saw this movie a few times. I have to remember the first time I saw it. I don't know, usually when movies leave such an impression, it's usually not from a way that will change my life. It's usually I'm just usually in awe for the next few days just talking about the movie and its cinematics. I don't know, I kind of have to think about it. Did it change anything for you?
I mean, it did inspire me and make me feel like my voice matters a bit more. And that
Really?
Well, it did feel like the system always has an edge, but I think it showed me how much a single person can do in a day and how that can change multiple people's lives.
Yeah, true. Like the butterfly effect, which is also a good movie.
Well, if there's nothing more else to add, I think we're out of time for today.
Okay.
So thank you for tuning in to our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and you're welcome to join us for the next session. Goodbye.
Yep.
Next week.
Goodbye.
See you
Bye.
next week.
Goodbye.